Welcome to She Rises Through It, a podcast for the woman becoming, especially in the messy middle. I'm Cydnie Jocelyn, mama, writer, creative, and a woman on the journey of finding herself after far too long following the rules, the roles, and the version of life we're told we're supposed to live. I'm not here to teach from the mountaintop. I'm here in the thick of it, sharing what's helping me rise through the hard parts, the shifts, the setbacks, the quiet breakthroughs. This space is real, raw. We'll talk about the good, the grief, the ugly truths, and the moments of hope that keep pulling us forward. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. Please know, what I share comes from my lived experience. It's not medical or mental health advice. If you or someone you love is struggling, please reach out to a licensed professional who can truly support you. This is about becoming through it all. You're not behind, you're becoming.
Welcome back. If you've ever felt like you were holding it all together on the outside while completely unraveling on the inside, and if you've ever hit a breaking point so quietly, no one even noticed, then this episode is for you. Because today I'm opening up about the real story behind the Cydnie Jocelyn Collective, the moments I broke, the promise I made to myself in the middle of chaos, and why this community had to be born. If you weren't aware, She Rises Through It is a podcast by the Cydnie Jocelyn Collective. I'm Cydnie Jocelyn, your host, the name behind the collective, and the one who's rising through it right now. And here for the journey of those rising through it as well. So why this community had to be born, this isn't just a brand. I want to purposefully and slowly build this community and this collective because it's my comeback and maybe it can be a part of yours too. So let's dive into today. We're going to talk about the storm before the collective, what got me to the point and what turned for me to build the collective. Then we'll talk about the collective, what we're here for, what I envision, what values I hold in the collective. So let's jump into it. This journey did not start in my postpartum. I have been struggling since my parents' divorce when I was 15. But when postpartum hit, that's when the volume turned up. For years, I had everything managed and I had a great support system with my husband. However, we got engaged, found out we were pregnant, moved our wedding up. We just basically moved it up a year. It was going to be in 23, but we did it in 22. Then Brooks was born in 23, and that's when everything spiraled. And that volume turned so high. For years, I've been internalizing everything. I am one that is an internalizer. I'm a feeler. I'm a sensor. I have a very caring heart. And I feel like I'm always holding it all in, feeling like I need to stay strong for everyone else. But then came my first birth experience. It did not go the way at all that I imagined. I ended up having an emergency C-section. There was a physical toll that I went through, the emotional weight that I was feeling, and the mental spiral that I went through, especially since I was planning for a natural birth. I was very adamant that's how it was going to go. At 36 weeks, it took a nurse 45 minutes to try finding our son's heartbeat on a non-stress test. She had to have the doctor come in. The doctor found the heartbeat immediately. And for precaution, she's like, let's just do an ultrasound to make sure everything's going good. That's when we found out he was breached. That's A-okay because babies flip. So we were thankful we still have time that he's going to flip. At 37 weeks, my amniotic fluid dropped substantially. I knew immediately in the ultrasound that it had dropped because the ultrasound tech had measured the amniotic fluid a different way that I've never seen done before. Then having this emergency C-section, our son going into NICU for a week. I had this entire spiral. We finally got out of NICU And suddenly at his 2-day follow-up, we ended up being thrown into weekly doctor's appointments because he wasn't gaining weight. They wanted to keep checking on him. We had multiple ER visits. He wasn't waking. At 2 months, he was hospitalized. He had tubes at 6 months. He's had his tonsils and adenoids out already. We were trying to make sense of all of this and the symptoms of what Brooks had at that time, and we didn't understand. And we were trying to advocate, and we felt like the system we were in initially just kept pushing titles and labels on him and wasn't just watching and monitoring and seeing, okay, is this normal? Is this not normal? Can we just watch for a little bit and see? So we switched systems. And during all of this, we were trying to heal, but we never felt like we truly had the space to do it. At 6 months, we finally got the go-ahead to let Brooks sleep through the night. After 6 months of brutally having to set alarms to wake up every 3 hours, we had to undress him. We had to put him on cold bathroom floors to just get him to wake up because he would not wake to feed at all. And they say never wake a sleeping baby. However, he was born 5 pounds, 12 ounces. He was not gaining weight, and it was advised we needed to wake him. So at that 6-month mark, we finally got the go-ahead. But then at that 6-month mark was the exact same time I found out I was pregnant again. Again, 6 months postpartum in the heat of it. I can still remember the moment I got the news. And the tears that followed, they weren't all joy. There was so much fear. I was overwhelmed. I felt guilty. Jordan, such an amazing husband, was so excited. He was ready for it. He's like, we'll figure it out. We've already had one. No big deal. And somewhere deep down, there was that feeling that I had completely lost myself. To make it worse, I felt like I was to blame. I was blamed, not directly, but in undertones or how others spoke with me too. It felt like they were blaming me and putting their judgment on me. You could tell, and I'm such a sensor and a feeler, you can tell the way that someone speaks with you if they're judging. Just saying. So from there, I was trying to show up for myself. Even in my marriage, it was quite hard. There were moments we felt like we were in that roommate stage, and I love my husband, and I know he loves me deeply. However, when I fall hard, he feels it all. He wants to immediately fix it, and I love him for that. But there were moments that, like, I couldn't even stand a hug. I couldn't be talked to. I just couldn't be touched. I was so overstimulated and so shut down that all I wanted was silence and space. And all he wanted was closeness and reassurance. We both were hurting, and I didn't recognize that at first. I didn't recognize he also too was going through it. I've very much felt that it's just been me. I've been the one at every doctor appointment and the one at every hospital stay. But that isn't truly what's happening. He is taking on the pain that I'm feeling and everything that I'm having to deal with. So we're working on and have learned that we need to meet each other in different areas and spaces. He needs hugs, which is not normal. He is not a physical touch person. Even like out in public, he'll be like, I don't want to hold your hand. But all of a sudden, he's cool with it. And I need stillness now. So basically, everything prior to marriage and kids flip-flopped. However, we both need grace. And we need grace for each other and for ourselves. So when I stopped showing up for myself, I completely disappeared. I was trying to be everything for everyone, to be that present mom, the supportive wife, the patient advocate, the employee, and the glue that held everything together. But I stopped showing up for myself. I started shutting down, and when you stop showing up for yourself long enough, you eventually stop showing up for the people you love too. I would come home and I physically was so drained giving my energy to everyone else that all I wanted to do was lay in bed and I didn't want to be talked to. during all of that too, my body started screaming at me. If you've listened to some of my other podcasts, you knew that I was getting numbness in my face. I was having tooth problems. I was having panic attacks. I started having constant fatigue, and I was emotionally just shut down. I can't even explain it all still. It's really hard to explain that feeling when I know how I'm feeling, but I can't express how I'm feeling. Nobody really understood that I was going through most of it besides my best friend, because we would talk like crazy about it. I became burnt out. I was completely depleted. I let my battery drain because I got so anxious to the point of physical symptoms and still trying to push through it all. That's when I knew something needed to change. When I screamed back in January, and then we went on vacation, came back, I had therapy in February. She gave me the feedback of 15 minutes a day. Just get some type of movement in, and don't think of it as losing weight. Think of it as movement for your body that's good for your mindset because it releases endorphins and gets you in a very positive mindset zone. And that's what I needed. So I was doing all the work. I was doing the movement, 15 minutes led to 30 minutes, and so on and so forth. Then in April, I hit another breaking point because, yes, doing all the movements is great, but it doesn't change overnight. So the last weekend in April, I snapped, not in anger, but I surrendered. I finally surrendered. I told myself, F it. I'm done. I'm done feeling this way. I'm done hiding. I'm done playing small. I'm done thinking that I am the only one in this kind of pain. Instead of spiraling again, I finally created. I finally created. I started building the thing I needed, a place where women were in the heat of it, not polished or perfect, but in the middle, right? We're in the messy, painful, courageous middle. And that's where the collective was born. It's so powerful to think about it too, because it was that last weekend. I launched the collective within a day. The next day, I got a message from Ashby, who introduced me to Corey. And then 2 days later, I had booked my trip to Costa Rica, went to Costa Rica, came back, and my entire life continued to change. So we're here for the journey. And we're here for the collective. And let's dive into what the collective is and what it's not. I want to be very clear and very frank up front because I don't want anybody thinking otherwise. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. And I'll never pretend to have the answers or even pretend that I am any of that because I am not. And I will always encourage you to seek the support you need from professionals if you're in that season and you're needing it. I strong-heartedly believe if you need to have a therapist, if you need to work with your doctor, do it. They are there to support you and help you. But here's what I am. I am a woman who's walked through fire, who is walking through fire. I'm a mama. I'm a storyteller. I'm a space holder. I'm a soft place to land when you're falling apart. I'm a reminder that you are not alone. This collective is for the women who are rebuilding, the women who are in between who they were and who they're becoming, the ones who are tired of pretending to be okay when they're not, and the ones who need community and not comparison. I am so ready for women just to uplift each other and meet everyone where they're at. If you even look at like childhood, we were taught to be in our cliques and our little friend groups, which yes, that's great. You're going to have your community and where you're supposed to be. However, the energy that you soak up and who you surround yourself and like how they speak about other individuals is how you start speaking. And I'm just not here for that. I am here for a community that is about uplifting and meeting every woman where they are becoming. That's the heartbeat of the Cydnie Jocelyn Collective. The collective is here to help women reclaim their voice, rewrite their story, and rise with purpose, no matter what season they're in. It's a vision of a world where women feel seen, supported, and powerful in every chapter, especially the ones no one talks about. Through storytelling, community, tools for the soul, we're going to rise through it together. And I truly value authenticity, showing up as you are and not who the world says you should be. Empowering each other, your voice, your story, your power. It's time to reclaim it. Creativity. There's magic in this mess, so let's express it through that. Courage. Rising doesn't mean you're not afraid. It means you keep going. Compassion for yourself, for others, for the journey, and connection. You were not meant to do this alone. You were meant to do this with others. So you're not alone and you're not behind. I'm just so excited that the collective has been born and that we are building this with purpose. And I am so excited to see what happens and where this collective goes. So if this is home, I want you to know something. You are not broken. You're breaking open. Like, yes, you're not broken. You may feel broken, but you're truly breaking open. So let's take a deep breath together. Breathe in. And let it all out through the mouth. Really let that in, that you are not broken and you're breaking open. And take that deep breath again if you need it. You do not have to carry all of it alone anymore. I built this collective not as a business, but as a lifeline, a space where you get to be seen, where your story matters, where we rise not in perfection, but in truth. So I want to invite you to reflect. Take time for yourself today to reflect on what part of my story feels similar to yours. You feel the collective may be purposeful for you. I want you to DM me with anything that resonates with you, anything that you just want to share, because I would love to hear. I am here for that. I am here to cheer you on. I would love for you to share this. Send this to a woman who might need this right now, who feels alone, who feels so much loneliness, or like they're going through this by themselves and they don't know what to do. And all they need is someone to help uplift them in community. Share it. And I invite you to join the community of the Cydnie Jocelyn Collective, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, whether it's listening to the podcast every week through Apple, Spotify, YouTube. I believe I'm on iHeartRadio as well. I invite you to please share this collective. Reach out to me with anything you need. Join the community. The website is in the process of being made. So once that's all up and running, I will put that out in a later podcast and in my show notes later. But that will be also another way to connect. And we'll have a lot of other different events and newsletters and things to come with that. So get ready for that. There's this promise I made to myself, and I want you to make that promise to yourself as well. I want you to stop hiding. I want you to start rising with intention and to create something real. I am now here to make it with you and to make that something and create that something real together, because you are not alone. And I am so glad that you are here. And remember, you are not behind. You are becoming. So until next time, keep rising.
Thank you so much for being here. Truly. If something in today's episode stirred something in you, I'd love for you to follow, share it with a friend, or leave a few words in a review. It helps more women find this space. We are just getting started, and next week's episode is already unfolding. I cannot wait to bring you along for it. Our full website and more resources are coming soon. But until then, you can always connect with me on Instagram at Cydnie Jocelyn. Until next time, you're not behind, you're becoming.